Hey, it's Ryan Gillard here with Real Broker, your Calgary Realtor. People often ask me, what is the best neighborhood in Calgary? Now, Calgary's a city with a lot of very nice neighborhoods, but there can only be one best neighborhood. And in this video, I'll take you through Mount Royal, which many people, myself included, think is the best neighborhood in the city. And in this video, I'll let you know exactly why I feel that way. Let's get into it.
All right, let's talk about Mount Royal. And first things first, if you are thinking of making a move, buying, selling, or relocating, feel free to give me a call. Shoot me a text, send me an email. All my information is in the written description below, or you can check out the pinned comment. And first things first, I'll show you where exactly Mount Royal is. So here's the Krebs community map. The purple section is the inner city. Downtown core is right over here. And Mount Royal is this section right here. So there's Upper Mount Royal and there's Lower Mount Royal. And I'll show you on the Google Maps, you can see it a bit better. So the neighborhood that we're talking about today is Upper Mount Royal, not so much Lower Mount Royal. They might sound similar, but they're actually quite different. So Lower Mount Royal is just off 17th Avenue with all the bars, restaurants, and shops. But it's mostly the townhouses and condos. There's a few detached homes in here, but it's mostly like a continuation of the Beltline in places like Cliff Bungalow and Mission. Very built up, lots of high-density properties. But Upper Mount Royal is quite the opposite, where it's mostly really high-end estate properties. There's a few exceptions along 14th Street where you'll find some kind of entry-level condos and single-family homes. But for the most part, this entire section has some of the most expensive properties in all of Calgary. And the boundaries of this neighborhood, it's a bit of an odd shape. So the western boundary is 14th Street, and then the southern boundary is, I believe it's Council Way to Premier Way. And then you can see this kind of green section right here. Doesn't look like much, but this is actually a fairly steep cliff separating Mount Royal to Elbow Park, which is the neighborhood down here. Also a very nice neighborhood. And then for the northern boundary, if you follow the green section up, you come across Royal Avenue, which separates Mount Royal to Lower Mount Royal. And then I believe, you think it's Cameron Avenue is the other dividing line between the two neighborhoods. It's hard to say, but when you're actually there's a clear separation. You go up a hill and basically all the homes become super expensive from Lower Mount Royal.
Now, when you see videos of this neighborhood, it really does sell itself. So I'm just going to have some videos playing in the background while I explain the neighborhood. And this part of Calgary, this Upper Mount Royal, it really is like the first neighborhood outside of the downtown core that's very suburban. So if you go north of Mount Royal, it's very built up, lots of condos and townhouses and stuff like that. But Upper Mount Royal is primarily single-family detached homes, all luxury estates, with the odd exception along 14th Street. And when you get closer to the Lower Mount Royal area, then you see a lot of condos and stuff like that. But for the most part, I'd say 95% of the homes in Mount Royal are luxury estate properties. And it's got a fantastic location. I would say that you could walk from Mount Royal to the downtown core, probably 20 minutes if you're walking, driving even faster. So it's just a super convenient location. So not only is it walking distance to downtown, there's all sorts of things in Mount Royal and the surrounding areas as well. So there are a ton of amenities, and I'll just go through some of them here. So it's walkable to 17th Avenue, also known as the Red Mile. This is like the vibrant commercial strip, just a few blocks north of Upper Mount Royal, and is the most lively street in Calgary with shops, restaurants, cafes, bars, nightlife options. So a very lively street. You've also got 4th Street in Mission, which is very similar to 17th Avenue with dining, shopping, and entertainment options. Mission is a very nice neighborhood as well. I've got a neighborhood got a Mission too. If you want to see that, just click the link above. Also very close to the neighborhood of Marda Loop, also known as Altador. It's another popular location with a vibrant community full of amenities, shops, and restaurants. Just a short drive away is Chinook Center. This is the biggest shopping mall in the Calgary city limits. I think Crossfire Mills is bigger, but that's outside the city limits. I would say it's probably about a 10-minute drive from Mount Royal. In July, it's actually fairly close, walking distance to the Calgary Stampede grounds. I think this will be even more important going forward with all the new developments coming to that part of town. In Elbow Park, just south of Mount Royal, you have the Glencoe Club. This is like a premier private sports, social, and recreation club. You've got aquatics, badminton, bowling, games, climbing. There's a gym, fitness center, curling, golf center, skating, pickleball, squash, tennis courts, and much more. I believe there's a wait list to get into this club. It's very prestigious. We've also got the Calgary Tennis Club. So this is technically in Sunalta, but only a few minutes drive away from Mount Royal. This is the largest outdoor tennis club in Calgary. And if we go back to the neighborhood of Mission, which I already talked about, there's a community center there called the MNP Sport and Community Center. This is a large multi-sport complex offering swimming pools, hot tubs, sauna, fitness facilities, programs, offices, and it's attached to Lindsay Park, which is also a very nice park in the inner city. And I'll talk about parks in more detail because the amount of parks in this neighborhood, it really is awesome. There's some really nice parks all over this inner city part of Calgary. So there are some excellent parks in Mount Royal and the surrounding neighborhoods. So I mentioned earlier, there's a bit of a cliff that separates Mount Royal and Elbow Park. So you get a lot of park space there. There's actually a lot of parks kind of in cul-de-sacs throughout Mount Royal that are quite nice. I already talked about Lindsay Park, which is a fantastic park, especially in the summertime. I go there quite often. A lot of my friends like to sit on lawn chairs and drink beer in the Lindsay Park area. That's very popular in the dead of summer. We've got Sandy Beach Park, which is in the Marda Loop area, so not technically in Mount Royal, but not far away. This is typically the jumping off point for tubing on the Elbow River, but the park itself is fantastic. Just up the hill from Sandy Beach Park, there's the Riverdale Park, which is an excellent dog walking park. And we've also got Stanley Park. This is actually a good spot for swimming on the Elbow River and getting into tubes as well. And all along the Elbow River, there's a running path. I would say it actually connects all the way from Inglewood, where the Bow River connects with the Elbow. You can take that running path all the way, I think, past the Glenmore Reservoir. So it's great for dog walking, running, cycling, and stuff like that. So it doesn't actually run through Mount Royal again, but it's not that far away. It's walking distance. And we've also got easy access to the Glenmore Reservoir, which offers sailing, kayaking, and walking trails. So if you're an outdoors lover, this really is one of the best spots of Calgary. And there's a lot of very popular schools in the Mount Royal area. So we have Mount Royal School, which is grades 7 to 9. Has a strong academic program with extracurricular activities. We've got Western Canada High School. This is one of the top-ranked high schools in Calgary with a great location right on 17th Avenue. And there's also the Earl Grey School, which is an elementary school.
And last up, you've seen all of the drive-by videos with the crazy, beautiful properties. How much are these properties? So I'll take you through the market stats for Mount Royal to give you a sense. Now, this is a tough area to get an average on just because every property is different. Every property is unique. Some have enormous lots as well, so it's a bit tough. And there's actually not that many listings or sales here, so it's tough to get an accurate average. And as you can see here, from May 2024, only 4 sales. So that's down 50% year over year. That doesn't mean much because there's only 4 of them. I can assure you our market is still very strong. And the total residential price in this neighborhood, according to May of 2024, is $1.782 million. I would say this is a bit light. If I'm guessing, I would say it's probably over $2 million if you go back far enough to get a good average. So what I did here with our MLS back-end system, I went back, I think it was 500 days, just single-family homes in Upper Mount Royal. And you can see here the top price, the highest price was $7 million. So that's a huge number. And if we go down to the bottom, we only 121 sales during the past 500 days as well. So not many sales. And you can see here lots of properties, 5.85 million, 5 million, 4.7, into the 3s. So a very pricey neighborhood. And the lowest priced homes here are generally on 14th Street. Now, these are not like the typical homes in Mount Royal. I would say it's undesirable. You can't really park there, and it's quite busy. And so these are not really accurate for the neighborhood. And the homes that you see here for like 1.025 million, 989, 1.3, I would say these are mostly land value. And the true average for this neighborhood, I would say it's probably somewhere 2.1 million. So what you can actually do, if I select all of them and then press the stats button, tabular, and it should load here. Yeah, so the average price 1.958, the median price 1.699. Now, again, this is a bit deceiving though because there was maybe 20 or so properties that were on 14th Street, and there's a lot of land value in this calculation as well. But I'd say you're looking at something over 2 million as the average in Mount Royal. And I'll just take you through a few properties here just to give you a sense of the price and what they look like. So this is the one that sold for $7 million. This is one of the all-time high prices in Calgary. And this is a great photo of Mount Royal. You can see the downtown in the background, huge estate properties, big lots, just a beautiful property. Looks very historic. And just take you through some of the photos here. Don't want to spend too much time on this. So very nice looking property. And the next one, this one is a bit more of a modern looking home. Built in 2009, sold for $5.178 million. And this one, beautiful looking home, great lighting, and it just looks a bit more modern compared to the other one. And as you can see, Mount Royal, every property is unique. There's actually a castle in Mount Royal as well. So every property just has its own kind of look, which is unique for Calgary. And Calgary, my gripe with Calgary is many homes look identical, but in this part of Calgary, everything is a bit unique. And the last one here, this one sold for $4.75 million. And I'll show you some of the photos here. So as you can see, all three properties are all completely different looking. And another beautiful home. And that just gives you a bit more clarity what your money gets you in Mount Royal. And all right, we're finished. So if you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out. I'd love to help you out. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.